And despite what Trump thinks, we understand that climate change is an existential threat to this planet. And we're going to take on the greed of the fossil fuel industry, who put their short-term profits ahead of the future of this planet. And together, we will not let Trump and his friends divide us up. We are going to fight to abolish all forms of bigotry. This is a tough time. It's a scary time for the country. There is no denying it. But what I want to do is to remind you that this is not the first difficult moment that our country has faced. I want you to take a little tour with me on American history. And I want you to think in a very serious way that back in the 1770s, people throughout this country said, you know what, we're tired of the autocracy of the King of England. Yeah, we know he is the most powerful person on earth. We know that he has this great army, great navy. But you know what? We want our own independence. And those guys and women put their lives on the line. They took on the King of England. People said, you can't be done. It's impossible. They're too powerful. They took him on. They won. Don't forget that. People said it was impossible, but they did it. And I want you to think about that when this country was formed, it was only rich white men who had the right to vote. And working people, over the years, it did not happen overnight. People said, you know what? We want the right to vote as well. And the fight for universal suffrage was not easy. And people said, it's impossible. You know, that's the way the system is. Rich people have the power, they have the money, they vote. People fought, and over the years, we had universal suffrage. In 1920s, women won the right to vote. We look back on it now, we say, oh, no big deal. Everybody has the right to vote. Trust me, that was a huge struggle. People had to overcome huge hurdles. They won that struggle. And in the 1850s, 1860s, people stood up and said, slavery is a moral outrage. It must end in America. And God knows how many tens of thousands of people fought and died to end slavery. It was difficult, but it was accomplished. In the early part of this century, workers who were exploited ruthlessly, incredible hours, fired arbitrarily, dangerous jobs, they said, we want a union. And the companies in some cases actually shot them, beat them up. You're never going to form a union. We own this company. We will tell you what to do. They fought back, and workers won the right to unionize. For God knows how long, how many decades, women said, we will control our bodies, not the government. And women won that right. It's a right that Trump and his friends are trying to take away, but we're not going to let them do that. And in the 30s, in the 1930s, in the midst of a terrible depression, Congress passed Social Security, Medicare, and over the years, Medicaid, minimum wage, clean air, and water standards. People said, you can't do that. Government can't do that. People stood up and demanded it. It happened. Now, I say all of that to put it in a context. Yeah, these are very, very tough times. We're taking on people with incredible wealth and power. They own the media. They own the political process. And sometimes I know it can become overwhelming. We can feel despair. But in the past, Americans stood up, they fought back, they won. We can do the same thing.